Hola a todos, bienvenidos a este increíble live que tenemos el día de hoy. Gracias a todos por estar aquí. Hoy tenemos una entrevista increíble. Tenemos a dos grandes patinadores del equipo de Estados Unidos. Así que vamos a darle la bienvenida a nuestros invitados.
Hola a todos,
Son Ashley, Cain, Gribble
a este increíble live que
Leduc.
tenemos el día de hoy. Gracias a todos por estar
Hi guys,
aquí.
how are you?
Hoy tenemos una entrevista.
Great, how are you? Thank you for having us.
I'm awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have you here, guys. Everybody's so excited. I mean, we don't usually have so many great skaters here, so everybody's kind of excited here.
Great, how are you? Thank you for having us.
We have like a delay something. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. We're having double audio. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. So, guys, I'm so excited to have you here. And I want to remind people that they can use the super chat to make questions or say hi or send stickers or whatever they want to do. And also don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. So Ashley, team, how are you?
We're so good. Thank you for having us. This is exciting. We're good. We just had like a full day of training. So, just resting up again for tomorrow.
Yeah, we just finished training. We're like so grateful to be training during the pandemic and everything that's happening. But yeah, we're doing great. We're gearing up for some competitions, and it's going to be like a different season, different looking season this year. But we're really excited for it.
I'm not even sure how that's going to work. I mean, I know that some competitions were canceled, but also they said that some of the Grand Prix competitions are going to be just for the people who live in the place of the competition, right? Mm-hmm. So how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, they did explain all of it to us. Like our federation explained how it was going to work. As far as we know, just for like Skate America, we know that it's going to be people living in like the host country. So that's about all we have as far as info so far. A roster hasn't been selected or anything like that, but as far as competitions before that, they've put together 2 cyber competitions. So we're going to be filming our programs, sending them in, and then they're going to judge them. And then there's going to be a score that comes back and placements.
Oh, really?
So we're going to have 2 opportunities for that. And then after that, there's going to be 2 like in-person competitions. And then from there, it'll be Skate America. And then don't know after that.
My God, that's so different. I mean, that's better than not competing at all. But I mean, everybody has to adapt to this new situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you said the best word of adapt. I think adaptability is going to be the theme of the 2020 season.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. Because 2 of those competitions, we have to film our programs and then send them in. So we're going to be competing, but we're going to be in our home rink, like sleeping in our own beds, doing our own routine, but then coming in to compete in our training facility. So it's just, it's such a different feeling than anything that we've done before, but we're ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody's able to send like the best routine they do, right?
No.
So how does that
Yes, so you have to select a time that you're going to do it, and there has to be a proctor watching you to make sure that it is the program that you said you would do, and you send it in. So you only get 1 chance for a short and a long program, and from there you have to send it on, whether it's what you wanted or not.
Cool. So what competition is that?
I don't know. I think it's called the Cyber Series. Yeah. Help me, Ashley. Is that what? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like an official name for it, but we've all been calling it the Cyber Series. So, and that should start in like 2 weeks, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, that's so great. And when did you start skating again? When did the ice rink open?
We got back on the ice in mid-May, and it was like limited at first, and now we're pretty much back to normal training. Obviously, we're wearing masks and keeping like our distance from everyone, but yeah, back on the ice since May.
Well, it's great you can skate. Some people can't even skate yet. In Mexico, we only have like 3 ice rinks open in all Mexico.
Wow.
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 Yeah, so my ice rink is full because
Yeah,
everyone
I bet.
from other states are coming to train in this specific ice rink. So you don't even have like free time. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so I want to get into the interview. Ashley, when you started skating, you were a solo and pair skater, and you competed in both, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what made you stick with pairs?
Yeah, so for as long as I can remember, I did singles and pairs, and I competed at nationals in both. Sometimes I would have like an hour in between events, but it's what felt normal to me. I look back at that time and I can't even understand how I did it, just as far as scheduling and like pushing my body that hard every single day. But what I wanted to do, and I was able to do it. And when in 2012, when my partner and I, who I was with before, Timothy, when we split, I decided to just focus on singles from there. There wasn't really any guys that were looking for partners. So I decided just to do singles for 4.5 years. And then I got a call from Timothy and Mitch Moyer, who's our high performance director, that asked if I'd like to come back to pair skating and have a tryout with Timothy. And I said yes. And actually, at the time when we first started our partnership, I was doing singles and pairs. I was going to try and compete in 2 disciplines again at senior. And yeah, I think it's just because I wanted to do it because I thought I could do it again. I did it for so long. Like I started competing in pairs in 2007, and I was doing singles obviously ever since I started. So I thought I could do it again. And I actually went from when we teamed up, which was around May, is that correct? Around May, all the way till September. I was doing both disciplines and training every single day, singles and pairs. And I actually did a competition. We did Mid-Atlantics, and I competed both. I competed senior ladies and senior pairs.
That's so
And I got off the ice after our free skate, and I looked at Timothy and I looked at our coaches and I said, I think I'm ready to close the chapter on my single skating, and I just want to focus on pairs. And luckily, like Timothy and my coaches gave me the option to do that on my own. Like nobody forced me into it. So thank you, Timothy, for being patient with me to figure out what I wanted to do. Yeah, I think the reason maybe I also wanted to do it again was because single skating was always there. Like when I had broken up with when my partner and I broke up before, like I could so easily go to single skating. So I think I just wanted to like keep it there. You never what was gonna happen, but
your safe
like
zone.
yeah, and so, but then I knew with Timothy, like it was everything that I wanted and everything that I wanted in my career. And so we just went from there.
Aw, I love that.
Were you at school when you were competing in both disciplines?
What's that?
Were you at school when you were competing at both disciplines?
Yeah, I started online schooling when I was about to be a freshman in high school. So I went to regular public school while I was competing in 2 disciplines, all the way up until about 2010, I want to say, is when I was about to be a freshman in high school. So
Wow.
yeah, so I was like doing school all day, then going to the rink, doing an hour of pairs, and then right after I was doing an hour of singles, and that's all I did.
That's so crazy. Work. And Tim, you had a 2-year break from competitions and you were doing shows.
Mhm.
What made you go back to competitions?
Yeah, that's a good question. And there's a lot of answers to it because there's a lot of reasons I stepped away and a lot of reasons I came back as well. But, I worked on Royal Caribbean on the cruise ships doing the ice shows. I loved it. It was such a fun experience. I encourage all skaters to at least look into it and learn about it. Because I just learned so much from traveling and from meeting so many new people and from experiencing skating in a different way than I had always done it competitively. But I felt on the ship that like I had more to give. I had the motivation to really push myself, and I wasn't finding that push coming from my situation. And so like when I finished my contract in March of that year, I started skating on big ice again, because the ship ice is like 1/5 of the size of normal ice. So it took me like a month just to adjust to big ice again, because you take one lap around the rink and you're like dying. But after skating on big ice again, kind of, working on my jumps again and relearning some stuff, I was like, you know what, I have the drive, I have the fire to do this again. And I still really want to go to the Olympics, but I also want to end my competitive career on better terms and feeling like I had more control over that. So I talked to Mitch Moyer and I was like, hey, I don't have a coach, I don't have a partner, where do I start? And he was like, so go skate with Ashley. And I was like, done. And I like, it was really quick, because like I got the call on like a Tuesday to try out with Ashley. I was there Thursday through Saturday, and then by Monday we were paired up and I had driven down to Texas. I like packed my car before even the tryout happened, because I was like, this is going to happen.
So how long did it take you to get in shape again? Like, it's not the same to do shows, the programs you do on shows, than to do competitive programs. So how long did it take you?
Yeah, it was a full 2 months that I was training from the ship until our tryout. And then from the time that we started skating, Ash, it was like early June, or like very late May, early June. And then our first competition was Cranberry, and it was like in August, right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's August.
Yeah. So we took that time to like learn all of our elements and get in shape for a long program again. And you know what? It was a journey after not doing a long program competitively for that many years, and drinking a lot of Mai Tais on the beach when I was on the cruise ships. It was a journey. But we have such a good team around us, and Ashley was very patient. And she was also like adjusting to pairs again. So it was a really good bonding experience for us early in our partnership. It's not like she had just come off of a partnership. We were both getting back into it together and able to commiserate about the soreness and, the struggles. And I think something people don't know is like when you start pairs, your body does change. You're using different muscles, you're moving in different ways. And so your center of gravity, your muscle distribution, things change, and your jumps will change as well. So we were both just like relearning so many things. And it was fun. It was a good start to our partnership.
And you were so brave. I mean, not everybody comes back to competitions, to all that world, different world, after 2 years of just doing shows. It's so hard. So you guys are trained by your dad, Ashley?
My mom and my dad.
Wow, that's so great.
In addition, Nina Mosier as well.
So how is that? How is to train with your parents?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so both of my parents were competitive skaters. My mom competed for Canada and my dad competed for Australia. And honestly, ever since I can remember, like the first time I stepped on the ice, I had them by my side. They were my coaches. But when I was younger, they did say, you can take from somebody else. And they even put me in lessons with somebody else. And I didn't want to take from anybody else. I would just like stand there in the lessons and not do anything, because I was like, I want to be taught by my parents. And I think a lot of people said that when she gets to her teenage years, you guys are going to butt heads and you're going to have fights. And, we've been able to keep a very business aspect of it, which I think has been really helpful. And they know when to, turn on the business side and be a coach, and they know when to turn off the personal side. So I'm really thankful for that. And that takes, a lot of respect from them and from me, and just respecting them. There's my dog. I think we have that respect factor there, and I think that that's why it works so well. And at the end of the day, they want me to accomplish every goal that I have, and they want Timothy as well to accomplish every goal that he has. And yes, I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to be standing at the boards for us no matter what, and thankful for that.
Has it been hard to separate like the family part from the work part?
I don't find it too hard. I mean, honestly, like every relationship like has its, up and downs or differences or what, but I mean, they've honestly been able to just do the best job at that.
Yeah.
And I credit them with a lot of that. And I really respect them. And I hold everything that they say to a really high, like, respect. And yeah, and I mean, they had a lot of years in this sport, in competitive skating and in the shows. They toured for 10 years in the shows. So they just really understand how all of it works, and they bring a great, like, outlook into our team.
That's awesome. So when you guys teamed up from the beginning, it was kind of special, right? It was great for you. So in your first US figure skating championships, you won bronze. So how was that experience? I mean, it was so new for you, your first nationals together, and you got a great result. How was that experience for you both?
Yeah. It was awesome because, like, we both had something to prove. Oh gosh, here's the video.
I always do this before we start. I always do this with my shoulders.
Yeah.
The program is lovely.
Yeah, we both had something to prove, and we both really wanted to show that we were, like, a force to be reckoned with, and that we were like a legitimate pair, like, people were like, oh, T was on a cruise ship, or the other things that they would say about us. And it was like, no, we're here, we're real, we're competitive. And we won the short program in our first US championships. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Do you think people didn't believe in you as a pair?
Oh my gosh, such a good moment.
Yeah. I think that there were definitely some doubts and some choice words used to describe us before we really emerged as, like, the potential for a top team. So yes.
Wow. So for in that moment, how long were you skating together? Like for a year?
No.
From end of May to January, so like 7-8 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Like, the beginning of our partnership all happened really quick because our first competition was in August. So, and also when we teamed up, it was about 2 weeks later, we had our first pair camp. Mm-hmm. So we went to pair camp with, like, literally like, hey, like, here's what we can do. We can do some double throws. He can lift me. But like, this is where we're at. I mean, we could do our jumps and our spins and stuff. And so we had pair camp, and then after that we had our competition. So we just got into everything really fast. Like, it just took off, and we had, like, a very good synergy about us. We were able to click really fast. Obviously not everything came easy, but we were able to put something together, something that we could present to them and say, hey, we want to be on the international selection pool. We would like to be able to go out on international competitions this season. Like, we're really serious about this. And so after our first competition, we earned the score to be on the international selection pool. And from there, we were able to go on our internationals. And, like, through the internationals, we were also learning new things. Like, we were going to competitions with, like, 5 new elements every single time. And, like, one of the first times we tried a triple twist, like, we learned a triple twist 1 week before a competition. And one of the first times we tried it in our short program was in the competition.
Crazy.
So it was just like, putting everything together as the season was going. So finally, when we got to nationals, it was like we had everything in the program that we could do, and to be competitive and be a top team in the US, and just say, like, hey, we're here to compete, and we're here to, possibly move forward from this and maybe go to four continents or what. So we were able to put that together. And I think that short program just, like, positioned us in that way for them to be like, oh, okay, I came here to play. And so that was a really exciting first year to have.
So how many hours were you training? I mean, there's obviously a special chemistry between you, but I can imagine also that you were training so much.
Mm-hmm.
So how many hours were you training a day?
That's a good question. I mean, so Ashley and I did come together with that synergy really quick. And we just got really lucky that, like, our personalities just, like, meshed really well, and we worked really well together on the ice and off the ice. We also knew each other for so many years before as well, because we were competitors for a long time We were on the same junior world team in 2011. I competed against Ashley with on novice, junior, senior for 3 years. We competed, and she beat me every time. Every time we competed. So we knew each other for a long time. So like that's part of the reason why we were able to come together so quickly. But I mean, as far as training, it's somewhere around like 8 hours a day. It's like a full-time job. When you put everything into it, all of the warm-ups, the on ice, the off ice, the lifting, the time spent in the gym, the time spent visualizing, doing like all the other activities that we do as pair skaters. So.
So just 1 year later, you won the silver on 4 continents. So that was huge. I mean, it was such a short time and you were getting so great results. So did you think that was getting you closer to your goals?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because at that national championships in 2018, obviously it was like the Olympic trials. And so we had like a really offshore program and we were really low in the standings. And we just looked at each other and we were like, we know we can do the free skate just the way that we practice. And we want to do it that way tomorrow. And we skated to the Great Gatsby. So it was a really exciting program. And we just wanted to perform for the crowd. And we were able to have that free skate at that national championships and we were 4th, and they put us on the 4 continents team in 2018. And we went and, you know, after the short program, we were sitting in 1st and we were just like super excited, but we also wanted to keep that, like our heads like low and just maintain like what we needed to be here to do. And we ended up, you know, 2nd, and our teammates, were also on the podium. They won, and it was just like a really exciting thing to stand on that podium with your teammates and to just feel like you accomplished a lot for yourself and also for Team USA. So we're grateful to have the opportunity.
Yes, of course. But also it was happening, everything was happening so fast for you. I mean, this program was awesome. I just love it.
It was fun, but it was really hard.
It was hard.
We talked about it before. That was a hard program. It was also when the programs were 30 seconds longer than they are now, and they had one more element in them, which people go back and forth on whether that makes it harder or easier. But it was a high energy program. It took all season for it to kind of like mesh and feel right. And we finally kind of peaked and did those performances at nationals in 4 continents when we needed them. So it was, it was fun.
So exciting. So, well, this is the difficult topic to talk about. So in December 2018, you were in Golden Spin in Zagreb, and you had a horrible accident. So you had a fall on the exit of a lift. You seemed kind of confused, Ashley, when you like woke up from the fall, but you could complete the program. And you had to go to the hospital after that because you had a concussion. So what do you remember about that day? And what do you think about that moment? I mean, I know that for skaters, pair skaters especially, it's so hard and it's kind of dangerous, the sport. So what happened? How did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as you know, as a pair skater and just an athlete in general, you know that injuries come with the territory. As far as Croatia goes, you know, we had never had a fall on a lift. We had never had anything like that before. It was something so foreign to us. And it was just, it came down to like completely mistiming. And I even know like where it mistimed. And in that moment right there, I actually felt like, what I was feeling was like, so the ice surface was here and I felt like I was falling through it. Like I felt like I was falling through a cloud and like kind of floating in this like galaxy, I guess. And then there was like a thought in my head where I was like, no, get up. Like, this isn't your reality. And I heard people like screaming from the audience, like, just my name and stuff. And so I came to, I heard our music and it was just like a click in my brain to like keep going. It was like I heard the music and it was as if we were training or something. And I just got up and I kept going, and we were able to finish the program. At that point, we didn't have any like, you know, big elements left. You know, I say that lightly, but like we didn't have any like big elements left. So I think my body just went on autopilot and finished the performance. And
But it seems actually like you just wake up and stand up
yeah.
and you kind of talk between you. I don't know
Oh,
what
I
you
was telling
said to
you
each
to keep
other.
going. I was literally, yeah, like I was like saying, keep going, do the spin. Let's try to
Do the
fit the spin
spin,
somewhere, because we missed the whole element. We missed the spin. And so it was like, you know, me just calculating in my head of what we could do. And, you know, he was there like, no, like making sure I was okay and that I could see and everything. And we finished the performance, and I think then everything kind of set in, and I was just like, what just happened? Like at that point, it was reality, you know?
Wow.
And so, you know, Tim took me off the ice and they put me into the kiss and cry and, you know, had my neck braced. And from the kiss and cry, they immediately put me into, onto the stretcher. And then they brought me into the medical room, and the poor teams that had to skate after us, like there were still teams that had to skate after us, I remember. And it was like 11 p.m. Like it was really late.
Right.
And yeah, so they put us into the medical room. I waited there for a little bit, and then the ambulance came and they wheeled me off. But there was like, I one of the moments where they were like, okay, she's doing okay, was I was like laying on the stretcher in the medical room, and I could hear the scores and stuff going on. And
You're calculating.
yeah, I was literally calculating scores because they at Croatia, at this competition, they only say your total score. They don't say what your free skate score is. So I was like doing math. I was trying to figure out what like our free skate score was, and I was like occupied with that, and I could do math, so that was good. But then they took me to the hospital, and luckily there was a neurosurgeon there working that night, which, you know, she wasn't actually supposed to be there, and just so happened that she was there that night. And so she took me down to this basement. They put me in the elevator, and then we went all the way down to the basement, and they wheeled me into this room. I had a scan done just to see if there was like any bleeding or any breaks or anything like that. And luckily there it was okay. But I mean, for a solid like 3 hours, I was not allowed to move. I could only lay flat. I couldn't sit up, and that was making me really anxious. I remember just like feeling super anxious in that time, just because I couldn't move. I like couldn't see much of what was going on around me. All I could look up to was like the ceiling, and that was about it. Yeah, and so from there, you know, we went back to the hotel, and it just like kind of all set in, and had to fly all the way home, which was definitely tough because I had a sprain. And so I had to fly all the way home from Croatia to America. And it's really cute because when I got home, all of the skaters from our rink were waiting at the airport for like a welcome home, and they had made signs, and they waited like hours because we were delayed. And so they waited for hours to like welcome me home. So that was special. And then from there, I just started the recovery and the plan that we had set for nationals, because it was about a month.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about next. But first, Tim, I usually wouldn't see accidents in pair skating. I always think about the guy, because the girls are the ones who get hit usually, but the guys feel so guilty. And you were so gentle with Ashley. You were so worried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely like every pair skater's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
What happened, and it was frightening. It was kind of just like an out-of-body experience. You know, I'm really grateful that we had, you know, the team around us that we did, and that we had, she was able to get care right away, and they were able to do the scans and everything, and that she was, you know, able to go back to the hotel that night. I just remember this like really powerful moment that we had when we were in kind of like the medical room at the rink still, and like Ashley, you were being like really chill and really calm, and then you started crying, And like, I was holding your hand and I was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? She's just like, I just wanted to win here. And I don't know why this is happening. And ooh, I'm so mad. We're going to win nationals. And I just like cannot wait to be on the top step of the podium at nationals and thinking back to this moment. And I was like, we're going to do it, Ashley. I believe in us. Yeah, I mean, it was just like an amazing, as terrible as the accident was, the whole process of returning to play in the weeks after that was like really amazing. And I think like trying situations like this really show what a person is made of, and like Ashley just showed everyone what she was made of, just like the grit and the determination that it took to just accept what was happening with her body, and you know how frustrating a concussion can be because you don't know what you're going to be able to do. And so like you could see some days she like wanted to come in and do everything, but like, you know, we had to be careful and follow the plan. And it was amazing. Our whole team, our coaches, all of the people involved at US Figure Skating that helped us through that was, it made that experience much better. And of course we had, you know, the result that we did at nationals. Really showed like the strength of the athlete that Ashley is. So it was, as hard as it was, it had a good ending to that story.
And I don't think I would have been able to be in like because of the atmosphere and the people that were around me, you know, we kept our group really close. And because of that, I was able to heal so much faster and to speak my mind, to say what I was feeling and not feel like I was being judged for it. So it just really helped my healing process. And, you know, I was able to lean on Timothy through all of that, because when I couldn't do stuff, like when I would have to sit and just, you know, like just chill out for a little bit on the side of the rink, I would watch him, and he was just like working so hard. He was doing things over and over and just making everything so that it would be right. And that really motivated me, because I was like, my partner's doing this and he's giving 100%. And I know that he'll be there on the day, and I want to be there for him. And I remember also like when I was like being wheeled through the basement and like staring at the ceiling, I just like remember thinking like, I have to remember this moment, because I want in a month to have the complete opposite feeling of what I'm feeling right now. And I said, I have to remember this moment. And the first time that I put my costume back on after like, you know, wearing it in the hospital and everything, because I left the rink and in my costume, I was in the ambulance in my costume, I was at the hospital in it. And the first time I put it on again was at nationals, and I was like, pulled it halfway up, and I was like, well, here we go. You know, and it just like that for me was a powerful feeling, because I was like putting it back on again. It was like my warrior suit, and I was like, we got this.
Yeah, that is so inspiring. I mean, just 1 month after, and with the injury and all, you got to win your first national championship. And I want to show people, in case they haven't seen it, because
so on the ice, the last team
emotional
there, and a chance for a team that hasn't been together very long, just a few years. Ashley Cain, Timothy Leduc in second after.
I never get tired of reliving this.
I know, I don't either. I watched it over and over.
Yeah.
So
I will say, I have never been so terrified in my entire life as I was entering this free skate.
Oh, but it's so beautiful.
You know, it was one of those moments where you just kind of knew that like the next 4 minutes were going to shape a lot of what was to come in the rest of, not the rest of your life necessarily, but just like in the rest of your career. I don't know. It was one of those just like do it or don't kind of moments.
Yeah.
Like very fight or flight kind of thing.
I've never felt like so much calmness within a performance. And that was my favorite thing about this, was like I felt so calm and
so cold side-by-side jumping out we've seen from any of the teams side-by-side triple loop.
So zoned in and focused on what we had to do and what we wanted to get done and accomplish. And honestly, like
they're always in character. They have beautiful matching lines.
A crowd, and here I didn't even notice like people. I didn't notice what other competitors had done or what their scores were. I just knew like what we could do, and we just focused on it.
Yeah, you were so focused. I mean, it was so great.
Weird thing that like we were playing mental tennis because it was going well, and it was like we never were thinking of what we wanted and what we were just like having different thoughts come in of whether it's good or bad. We were just letting it bounce right off of us and not letting it affect us.
Okay, I just want to go to the end of the program.
Wow.
And show the special moment that I just love.
Last year, they missed the podium by a spot, missed the top
I cry
three.
every time I see
This time around, though, you
achieving
gotta
goals,
believe that was an effort that
It
as you
was so
see those
exciting.
yellows go away and the greens come in, it could be gold.
Their free skate segment scored 141.8.
Yep, you got it. They got it.
Competition score 212.36, and they are currently in first place.
I just love it. We're the champions.
Oh, it's so cool.
Oh my God. I just love that moment. So how did you feel? I mean, after the accident, and you were like so focused to get there, to get your championship, your first title, and you just got it in that moment in the kiss and cry. How did you feel? I mean, Tim, you were like shocked. like you didn't believe it yet.
Yeah, I was focusing really hard on equanimity, which is something that we work on a lot in our mental training and preparation for competition and dealing with the nerves and the stress. And so I was really in that moment focused on equanimity, you know, maintaining calm, but also just like I was literally having like so many. It was like my skating career was flashing before my eyes, and I was just like thinking of all of like the people that had helped me along the way who were experiencing that moment with me. And my parents, my brother and sister were my aunt and uncle were in the audience that day as well. So I was just like thinking of them and like all of us experiencing this moment together. And it just was like, I almost like astral projected and was like standing behind myself and watching this happen and just observing and just taking the moment in and appreciating it and savoring it because of how powerful it was given the circumstances leading up, the circumstances of that day, of the competition, of everything that had happened. And it was just like the best result possible. And I couldn't even believe it was happening.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so great. I mean, I'm so happy for you. It was a great program. And I mean, I think it's so special after all that happened that you could get what you wanted, your goal. So besides competitions, well, we said the pandemic affected every skater. And what did you guys do to stay in shape the months that you couldn't skate?
Oh, like in this quarantine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were working pretty much every single day. Obviously, we gave ourselves some time to rest just to like regroup because at the time that they canceled the World Championships, we were actually in New Jersey training with a ton of other international teams. So we had heard that Worlds was canceled on a Wednesday, and we were still there till a Saturday, until that Saturday. And so we trained with those teams for those rest couple of days, learned new elements. We started on new lifts, everything, and got home, and we trained right away because we had heard that our rink was closing and we didn't know when it would close and we didn't know how long it would be closed for. So we kept skating, and then our rink was closed like a week later with obviously no, knowing of when it was going to reopen, which obviously was about 2 months later. So from there, we gave ourselves a little bit of a rest because we finally needed it. And then we set a plan, and we trained every single day. I mean, I feel like Timothy, we were training like pretty hard.
We were training really hard. Yeah. We were doing a lot.
We were doing a lot of off ice and, working on all of our new lifts. We started working with 2 performers from Cirque du Soleil, and they were teaching us new lifts. And I mean, we were doing the best that we could to like stay in shape and working on our jumps and everything on the ground. But So when we returned to the ice, obviously, like we were able to do all of our stuff when we felt in shape, but also like skating is like nothing else.
No,
You know, you have to get used to rotating again and knowing when to come out on your jumps and just piecing all of the elements together.
So do you have your programs for the next season already?
We do. And I mean, like I said, adaptability is the theme of 2020. We learned our programs over FaceTime, which is a challenge because, you know, you have to figure out camera angles and distance, and then how, like, you have to kind of watch what your choreographer is doing and then try to do your best to adapt that on the floor. So we were literally learning and creating our programs with Pasquale Camerlengo, our choreographer, over FaceTime on the floor. And then once we got back on the ice, we were having lessons with him as well, and just trying to put it together as best we can.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb question. You said you practice camera angles?
Yeah, so we got pretty inventive in just like, where to like put the phone so that like, so he could see what we were doing. And I mean, it would be up on like shelves, propped up with books. I mean, you know, you do what you can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. So there's a question. What do you think is so special between you guys as the chemistry you have that has made you improve so fast and start achieving the goals you want?
Mm-hmm. I would say it's our work ethic. Like we have a goal and we want to commit to it, but we also take into account the other person's feelings. Like we never, you know, disrespect each other. We always hold each other to a really high, like we really respect each other. And so we have the same goal, and we have the same work ethic, and we'll do what we can to accomplish that goal. And so I know when he comes in, he's going to give 100%. He knows when I come into the rink, I'm going to give 100%. And I think that that's what's pushed us forward a lot of days.
I fully agree. I think we have, like, I don't want to talk about our relationship like it's this separate thing. Like it's like Ashley, we have such a good partnership. You know, we're such good friends on and off the ice. We work really well together, and like we just like we help each other. You know, we're like, you know, we can like work really hard and be sweating and dying, and then come off the ice, and then we'll just kind of like sit and kiki and chit chat and talk and hang out. And like, I know we've both had other partnerships. We've seen a lot of partnerships. You know, we're obviously friends with all the other pair teams, and I know every pair team thinks that their partnership is special, but like we have a very special partnership that like I know both of us really cherish. Oh, look, there's Dalton.
I know Dalton. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Hi, Dalton. I love it.
Husband, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, husband.
Hi, I'm Dalton.
He's eating chocolate.
I love it. That's awesome.
So, what is your strategy to cope with the nerves before competitions?
I think to accept them. I think it's so easy to just like pretend, oh, I'm not nervous. I'm fine. I feel great. I want to go out to compete. Like no one feels like that. Even at national championships, like we've talked about it. Like for me, Timothy's talked about, he can say what he was doing, but for me, in the locker room, I was walking through our program over and over and over and over. I think I went through it like 5 times because we skated last, and I just like kept going through it. And it was the only thing that could keep my mind off of like, okay, I really want, everything I've ever wanted in my career, like is about, is riding on these 4.5 minutes, instead of thinking about that, I just decided to look at the technical side of it, and that I could control the technical side of it if I just broke it down and kind of put aside my emotions, and those thoughts. And so I think for me, just focusing on the fact that like I have skated for so long, like for a long period of my life, and I've been doing this for a really long time, and it's the one thing that I can control, and that's what I want to focus on, is that I can control my own skating. I can't control the judges or the people in the audience. I can't control all those things. Those are outside factors, but I can control my own skating.
That's a great advice for all the skaters, because usually my audience asks about that. people who compete not at these levels, I mean, just like regular level nationals, they are so scared of competing, and they usually ask, how do these guys go to worlds, to four continents, or to Olympics, who go to the Olympics, and how do they cope with that? I mean, it's so stressing to be in a competition, right? So I think that's a great advice. Control what you can control.
Yeah, I mean, we work a lot on that because, I mean, I am a very emotion-based skater, so I do have to break it down to the technical side, or else I'll get really overwhelmed and really anxious and just get way too ahead of myself. And so when I break it down to that, then it usually helps me focus. And as well, like sometimes I have to remind myself of where we've competed and the things that we've been able to accomplish. Like sometimes I will be freaking out about doing an ice show. Like I'll be so scared of doing something in an ice show, like so nervous about it. And I have to like be like, Ashley, you have competed at the World Championships, or like you've done this in front of a ton of people, but you know, your nerves can creep in at any time. It doesn't really matter what you're doing or at what level they come.
I
And
know.
it's just how you handle them.
Okay, so last question. What are your goals to the next season you compete in? And of course, I know you want to go to the Olympics next time. Hopefully, we'll see you there. But for this season, weird new season, what are your goals?
So, I mean, we definitely have the same competition and results-based goals of we want to be national champions, we want to go to worlds, we want to maintain the 2 spots or get 3 spots for next year's worlds and Olympics. And obviously we want to do really well in the cyber series and in the competitions before nationals as well. I know for me, I really, like, I, as a skater, like, I think a lot of skaters have this, like, they have this, like, vision of themselves competing in the Olympics as this, like, ultimate skater that they know that they can be, that, like, perfect skater that they've, like, worked their whole lives to become. And, like, I just want to spend the season getting closer to that and starting to see that skater appear more and more in competition. Because I know it's in me, you know? And Ashley, we've talked about this. Like, I know you have the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly, I mean, that it lines up exactly with what I want to see from myself as well. And, you know, from our team. And we talk about that all the time of what our goals are. And before we start a season, we always like sit down and say our goals and what we want to accomplish, because in there it makes it real. You know, when you keep your, like, for us, we have to speak out our goals, and then it makes it a reality for us and how we can accomplish those. So we always make a plan heading forward into the season, just so we know when to peak at the right time and what we're going to be doing at this time. Obviously, right now it's kind of up in the air as far as scheduling, but we do have a little bit of, you know, excitement now that we know we're going to be competing in the cyber series, and we'll have 2 competitions in person, then possibly Skate America. So now it's like, you know, kind of putting that excitement under our belt again that we didn't have for a couple of months.
So the competition where you're supposed to qualify for the Olympics was supposed to be on December or January, right? In China, I think.
No, I think it's going to be worlds, obviously, for the spots. It'll be the World Championships this season in March, if they have them. And then also Neville Horn next season. And then for us, depending on how many spots Team USA has, then it would be our national championships, would be the main qualifier, but it's also kind of like a body of work system that they look at, you know, a lot of the competitions that you've done in the last couple of seasons.
Hopefully we'll see you there. There's so many people who want you there, and you're getting so close. I mean, we have seen you improve year by year and getting closer, just a little bit closer. So I think you can get it.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. And we agree.
Yay.
You're so awesome. I mean, people is so happy here. I have seen people saying hi to you on the chat, and someone says you're their favorite couple ever.
Thank
They
you.
love you. And there was some fan of you, Tim, who is completely in love with you.
No,
American fan.
thank you.
So,
Thank you.
guys, thank you so much for being here. And for the people who is watching, thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And guys, hopefully we can do some documentary episode about you. So I'll talk to you guys later about that, because I would love to do a story of your trajectory as a couple. So I'll let you know later if we can do something.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm so happy. Thanks. Gracias a todos por estar aquí, and see you next time.
Bye.